Hi everyone, my name is Gamer Joe, co-founder of Media Moogle. Media Moogle is dedicated to bringing video games, game music, and indie games and developers the love and recognition that they deserve. Free yourself from the shackles of mainstream gaming coverage and check out some of our wonderful content at MediaMoogle.net. It's time to say goodbye to the echo chamber and join us on this wonderful campaign to give the voiceless ones in this industry a voice again. MediaMoogle.net for all of our content, or YouTube.com/MediaMoogle to check out some of our great video coverage. Onward, our work has only just begun.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Salutations and welcome to the Manabar Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rose, and I'm joined here with Matt Smarko.
Hi, Andy.
And DJ Party.
That's his name now.
Never gonna
We can't be the first ones that have called you that.
It is.
Wow, that's crazy.
My first nickname in school was...
Probably because most people didn't know his middle name was John.
Yes, Fiesta. So...
What? My car was your nickname?
Mine, yes. Party, Fiesta.
Oh.
It was a Spanish class, all
right. That's context, Dan.
Okay.
Context clues.
Sorry.
I drive a Ford Fiesta. Ole.
Sweet.
It does.
How you guys doing? Good job last week on the podcast without me.
I know, just last second, Matt threw like a curveball at me. He was like,
Listen.
no, Andy. And I'm like, oh, shoot.
Last second, I felt like crap. That's not true. I felt like crap the entire day.
Well, you look like crap. So.
Lack of sleep.
Matches.
Lack of sleep really affects me. And I just had like none. I think I woke up at 2 to 3 a.m. the night prior and then just stayed up and went to work. So that day was really rough. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I am doing well. I'm doing well.
Good.
January. It's January 29th when we're recording this. That is the coldest day on average of the year in Massachusetts.
So fun fact,
which means
Matt
from
keeps
now
track
on,
of this yearly.
It's going to get warmer on average every day until summer.
What if we go to PAX in a month and it's like negative degrees?
That's very likely to happen.
Yeah, you guys are so similar in the worst ways.
Because we don't like the cold and we like chicken fingers?
Yeah, what's wrong with
Actually, that's not true. You guys have one key difference. That's the one way I can tell you two apart. One of you is a Pepsi person, one of you is a Coke person. That's the defining difference between the two of you.
Well, we obviously
everything
know
else, like I'm looking at you both now, and I can't tell you apart.
Using Star Wars, as a context, blue is for the good guys, and Coca-Cola red is for the bad. So obviously,
Vader's cooler than anyone else in the Star Wars universe.
I don't really understand the color coding reference.
Meaning, if we're using like Star Wars logic, where blue is good,
where in Star Wars is blue automatically?
A lightsaber. A blue lightsaber is never by like a Sith. It's by
there's like two Siths who use lightsabers. Everybody else has like such a rainbow. Red is evil inherently. I'll give you that one.
There you go.
Matt, any rebuttal?
Coke tastes better.
That's
than
not
Pepsi,
true.
So
Kettle corn is great.
No, it's not. I will agree with Matt on that one.
This all stemmed from you two with the palates of an ant telling me that kettle corn was horrible. And
kettle corn sucks. And if you're listening to this podcast and you
geez.
like kettle corn, you just turn it off right now. We don't need that kind of audience.
Matt, we need anybody and everybody.
We don't have enough viewers.
We need the kettle corn of the non-kettle corn people.
We're an open tent podcast, but we have our limits.
Listen. I'm unbiased to people who like or
us.
dislike kettle corn. I'm just saying it's great, and I felt very attacked that the two people who have like no flavor, don't know how to cook, have like such a limited range of things that they like.
I just refuse
have
to do
a
it.
limited range of things they even like to eat are telling me like, ugh, kettle corn? Bleh.
It is
we know it's good. So
Kettle corn.
We just go for the best.
What's not good? Yeah. Why not have chicken fingers? It's the best thing on the menu.
I do. I just don't always
that is very true.
have chicken
It's either
fingers.
it could be
It's
chicken
either that,
wings,
ribs,
burger, steak.
burger, pulled pork maybe, if you're getting really
What do
crazy.
you mean maybe? Pulled pork's amazing.
I know, I'm just saying. That's like it. Ribs.
Anyways, this is what we're going to talk about for 2 hours. Nothing happened in the world of gaming news this week.
Oh, lots of stuff happened. We played video games, and there was some.
We played a zombie
semi-news.
game.
We did. You can watch the video too.
There's some Silent Hill stuff, I guess. I keep hearing that Stadia is kind of worsening by the day.
They've given up on it.
They're not. They haven't updated it since launch or something like that, or they haven't updated it much at all. But aside from that, like, I was scouring. I'm like, dude, are we just gonna turn this into like a 2-hour opinion piece, or? I mean, we can go over the bullet points, but then after that, it's like we either cut it off early or we kind of just go with the wind.
You're going to scare everyone away. We've got so much fun stuff to talk about.
I mean, Matt's had an interesting time with the game he's playing.
Whoa! I didn't say.
And we got news points.
Yeah.
I didn't say we didn't have. I didn't say we can't fill up the time. I'm just saying the topics are not going to alone fill up the time. We're going to have to get a little creative, which I know neither of you do very well because all you like is plain unbuttered popcorn and chicken fingers.
It's so good. I mean,
unbuttered popcorn?
No, buttered popcorn.
Unbuttered.
Oh, Dan likes unbuttered popcorn?
Whoa.
And you like unsalted peanuts.
Wait.
I do not. I prefer salted peanuts.
Wait a minute. Then why do you buy them?
Because I can't trust myself with salted peanuts because I would eat them all in one sitting and have like diabetes attacks and like gain 1,000 pounds. I buy unsalted peanuts because they're something that I
like how diabetes attacks is a thing now.
I buy it.
You never know. It's in your penis.
It's specifically a food that I like enough so that I can tolerate it, but I don't like it enough so that I'll keep going back to the cabinet to getting more.
That's a good way of thinking. I like it.
That's why I don't buy snacks. To be honest.
I don't have.
Yeah, just not having them in the house is the best way to not snack. So.
Oh god, I want some coffee ice cream now.
Okay.
Yeah, that would totally kill.
Yeah, coffee ice cream. What do you like? Coffee and mint?
I do love coffee ice cream.
Oh my god!
I don't even drink coffee, and I love coffee ice cream.
Boom.
So
yummy.
I'll give you that one.
All right, Matt. Let's start off with you. What have you been playing, or what have you been having trouble seeing?
Okay, well, so I finished off Resident Evil 2. Not much to say. We've already beaten that game. It's a blast.
This was the remake.
Game of the Year award winner.
Yeah,
Quick question before you continue: have you gone back to the original lately at all?
Resident Evil, the
2.
original Resident Evil 2? No, I haven't. I kind of thought about that, but I was like,
I know you just beat it. Like,
yeah, like why? Resident Evil, the remake's just like a better version of it. It's like just gonna like annoy me.
I wasn't sure. I mean, you guys kept telling me it was a different game, so I wasn't sure.
It is like a kind of a different game. It's a good thought, maybe. Like, it was nice to play this game, especially with that infinite ammo thing, and just kind of like breeze through.
But now you're already on 3, and
yes. So after 2, I was gonna play Code Veronica because that was one that I've played before, but not long. I never actually owned the game, so I don't know if I rented it or just probably played it at a friend's house or something. So Dan was gracious enough to let me borrow his copy, and I started playing it. And I got
Can we talk about what happened prior to you borrowing it?
Sure, I don't know what you're
The
referring to.
Dreamcast version that you had.
Oh yeah, I have a Dreamcast, and I have a Dreamcast version, but apparently it's a 2-disc game, and I don't have the first disc.
So you only played it at a. I'm just trying to get the dates correct here. So you might have only played it at a friend's house.
Correct.
But you had the Dreamcast version, but it was only it was missing a disc.
I got the Dreamcast version in like 2009 or 2010. I got my friend was gonna like throw his away, so he just gave me his Dreamcast and all the games he had.
I wonder where that other disc. Because my next question was going to be, I wonder if it was still in his Dreamcast, the other disc. But if he gave you the Dreamcast,
yeah, he gave me the Dreamcast. It's kind of a bummer because like some of the game, like he gave me. Obviously, he gave these dolls to me for free, so I'm not complaining. But like the Sonic Adventures, I think both of them like didn't work properly, so it was like it just froze after a while.
Which sucks because they actually work better on the Dreamcast than they do on the PS2.
You can get Dreamcast Disc 1 for only $8.
It's over now.
Yeah.
All right, go on, Matt. Tell your story. I'm sorry. I'll stop interrupting.
So I've never played this game. It was pretty interesting. Like it kind of plays like the first 2 on the original PlayStation, except I would say the key difference is I feel like I was getting a lot more ammo. You start off the game with a handgun, and then pretty quickly you get like a double Uzi kind of cross between handguns and an Uzis. I don't think they shoot quite like automatically, but like you can point the guns at 2 different enemies. It'll just kind of like auto target. So if there's guys coming at from both directions, you can use that, which is pretty sweet. Other than that, it was playing just like any the first 2 Resident Evils, and I was kind of enjoying it. You play as Claire Redfield from the second game. That's how you start at least. And about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hours in, it started to get, it was dark from the beginning where there were points where it was like hard to see anything on screen. But I think because it was just so early in the game, it wasn't difficult for me to just kind of like, just jet through an area and just avoid all the zombies, even though I couldn't see them very well. And it got to the point where they were adding more zombies and more types of zombies. And and I just couldn't see anything on the screen. And I was like, this I don't think it's hard for this. It's not supposed to be hard for this reason. So I was messing with my TV, like adjusting the brightness settings, and I still couldn't see anything. I even had you come and see if you could.
Yeah, I will back this up. I scoured your TV settings, which I feel like were a bit limited. I don't know if that's just because the brand new TV you had or whatnot. But even with like, it had a game mode, it had a backlight, it had a brightness setting, it had all these things that normally would fix all the problems that something too dark would solve. I mean, even, all right, here's how you know there's something wrong with the game. I switched it to the sports and the vivid mode, which for most people who've messed with their settings on their TV know those are extremely bright. Like, it's whatever bright you normally play on a video game, it's like 10 times brighter, especially the sports mode, I feel. And even that, it was like just as dark. So that's how you know there was something seriously wrong with the game.
Yeah, it was strange. Like I got to the point where, you know, I was 2 to 3 hours in, and more than half of the attacks I would like hits that I was enduring were just like because I didn't see something, and all of a sudden I was just getting hit from like the side because I couldn't see to the left of me, or I couldn't see anything. Like I was just kind of following the bright lights that are, you know, in the corners of the room or whatever. So then I just got to this room where there was like 6 or 7 zombies, and I tried to kill most of them. And then like I thought I was done, and I just kind of went around them, and then I just kind of got like trampled by 2 or 3 zombies that I didn't even see were there. So at that point I was just like, all right, screw this. I'm going to stop playing. I can't play this. Like these games are kind of hard enough where they don't give you a lot of health and ammo, usually. So that I just kind of didn't want to deal with that kind of extra. Like I just really couldn't even figure out puzzles because it was so dark. So it's strange. Like when Dan walked in, he mentioned maybe trying to get like an older TV. That might be like, maybe it just doesn't look as good because it's, you know, not built for a newer TV. If it needs like a CRT or something.
That holds some water. I mean, I don't know you haven't had any other issues with your AV cable games, though.
I play PS1 and PS2 games on there all the time.
I watched you play RE3, and it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm playing,
and everyone's complaining about it online with that game. It's got to just be the game.
I did look online.
The actual, not disc itself, but the porting.
Oh yeah, and the disc was having some issues early on, but I had one of those what are they, like disc repair kits, disc cleaning kits, so it wasn't that. And the only thing that plugging in the older systems, especially when they're using the AV cables, concerns is basically just the pixel ratio. You know, I had a hell of a time playing Skyward Sword on my TV because my TV is so big, and the Wii only goes up to 480, and it no matter what I did, it always looked like garbage. So there's not much you can do in that realm. Yeah. I think it's just the game.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Maybe. I mean, those games were technically, especially because it was originally for the Dreamcast that was 99. Those games were technically made for a 4:3 ratio TV with AV cables. So I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm just comparing it to the other games you play.
Yeah,
using your AV cables, and you don't have any problems with them. So
it's strange. So once I gave up on that, I moved to Resident Evil 3. I thought I might as well finish the last one before the Resident Evil 3 game comes out in a couple months. I've been enjoying it so far. One thing that kind of struck me is different than because I always preferred the second one to the first or the third one. One thing that kind of struck me so far, maybe 6 or 7 hours into it, is how linear this game feels. So it's a lot of alleyways. It's a lot of like, go here, you get this piece. Okay, I know exactly where this goes. I have to go back through all the alleyways back to, you know, this little apartment or this little office area and put a piece here, and then I need to go get the oil, or I need to get the jumper cables or whatever it is. So it doesn't feel like there's as many interesting puzzles or kind of like exciting like things that I think make Resident Evil 2 special, just stand out besides just being like a horror game. And another thing is just like they have this kind of interesting thing that they do. They do it a lot with the Nemesis fights. So of course this is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. There's this giant monster crazy guy chasing after you, screaming stars at you, where a lot of the times when you start to fight him, it'll just give you like the screen will kind of flash white and black, and then it'll give you like an option of either running or fighting him, and you can get like, you know, more powerful weapons and health if you fight him. But so far I've been just kind of running every chance I get because I don't really see, you know, I'm going to use so many bullets on him that it's not worth getting any sort of gun parts that I'm not going to have the bullets to use, or, you know, I might lose a bunch of health and then get, you know, 2 herbs or 3 herbs, which is kind of just not worth it. And they do force you to fight him a few times later on, so it does get to the point where you actually do have to fight him. And you take so many hits, it's not really yeah, you wouldn't want to fight him more, or at least I didn't. And I ended up with the same problem I had, where I have a ton of extra ammo. They have an interesting thing where you're not finding a lot of ammo, but there's a lot of like gunpowder A and gunpowder B. So you mix gunpowder A, and you get a bunch of handgun bullets, or B and B, you get some shotgun bullets, and you can mix them with C, and then you get C gives you magnum bullets, and then you can mix them together, and you get like some grenade bullets, or like some freeze grenade bullets. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that you can kind of make what weapons kind of suit your playstyle. But because of that, I just have like an entire box full of bullets because I've been saving up everything. So it's going to be one of those cases where I just have a ton of bullets at the end of the game, especially like hundreds of handgun bullets. But that's pretty cool. And it's interesting, like from my memory, I thought those kind of like, choose your own adventure cutscenes only happen during the Nemesis fights, but there'll be parts where like, a box will start to fall on you, just like scripted when you're running through a hallway. And you'll have like half a second to decide if you want to like jump over here or like jump down a hole. Which is kind of interesting that they kind of divert the gameplay in two different ways. Like there was one place where I was on top of a clock tower, and the Nemesis kind of jumps out of the door, and you can either like blind him with these giant lights, or you can like trip him with a wire. And I just choose to blind him with the lights, and then Jill just runs over and pushes him off the clock tower, which is pretty sweet. And I'm assuming if you tried to use the cord, it would probably screw up and you'd have to fight him there. So it's just kind of interesting that like every time you play, there's some little things that you can do to make it different. It's just like this little extra stress every time that comes up. But besides that, I'm still playing it. It's fun. I did hear that with that third game, they're going to be varying from the story of the original, which I think would be kind of cool and interesting. Like if they kind of built more kind of like places for you to go into, more kind of mazy and puzzly, as opposed to just kind of this linear. This street to the hospital for a little bit, and then back through this street. But so far I'm enjoying it.
So you both had mentioned earlier a couple weeks ago that Code Veronica was kind of supposed to originally be like Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's why this game was called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Like that's in the subtitle, because I always thought that was a little weird. Then it's like, oh, I wonder if they were going to do a FF13 and FF13 versus type situation where one released on the Dreamcast, Resident Evil 3 Code Veronica, and the other released on the PlayStation, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I wonder if it was like something like that.
Yeah, it might have been, because it is kind of like it's very different from the first two. So you wouldn't just like, I feel like, especially back then, games didn't make huge jumps and leaps with their kind of iterations. It was just kind of like more of the same but better, and added a few things. Like this is kind of a very different gameplay style than the first two, which are kind of like puzzle mansions. This one's just kind of that like this guy's chasing you with the whole game. And you just got to get away from him. And every time you think you're safe, he comes out of nowhere and tries. It's kind of like Mr. X from the remake. They really didn't do as much as that in the original Resident Evil 2. So it's kind of strange. That's another thing that I think is kind of strange, because they kind of played this trick in the RE2 remake. So it's like, are they going to just do that again? Probably, but they're going to hopefully have some new twists on it to make it kind of unique and differentiate Nemesis from Mr. X. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
What about you, DJ? What have you been playing?
So I know last week when it was just Matt and I forgot to mention kind of what I was playing, but I really wasn't playing anything new.
I scoured the podcast audio for so long. I'm like, oh, where does Dan talk about the games he's playing?
Yeah,
and I realized eventually, I'm like, oh, he never did.
Yeah,
moving on.
Well, I mean, it wasn't anything new, but I made sure this week that I wanted to try some new things. So one that is not new, but is now in my completed pile, is Star Wars Fallen Order, which
nice.
I finally beat that on.
Did you struggle near the end? Because I felt like it got really like ramped up the difficulty in the last like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass.
Fair.
Absolute pain in the ass.
Some of those boss fights were really hard.
Yeah. And then
you were playing it on the hardest difficulty, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that.
The lightsaber fights, even though once just like Bloodborne or Dark Souls, once you know their what's it called, their move set, it's actually like I was getting my ass kicked by Trilla, that sword fight, and then towards the end I was beating her without getting hit. So I was like, okay,
nice.
Like I was starting to learn her move set. So thank you, Dark Souls, for pretty much teaching me how to play those types of games. but it was fun. It was a really fun platformer, like Dark Souls-y hack and slash kind of game that I really enjoyed. I felt like the ending fell really flat. I don't know about you. I don't want to spoil it for Andy, but I don't know. I just felt like it had potential to go somewhere, and then just kind of.
I don't know. I think it ended okay. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but they kind of had like that kind of interesting kind of some semi-reveal that, I don't know. I don't want to ruin anything, but I felt like it kind of got interesting in the last, 20, 30 minutes, but.
Well, but it was just the very end of the game. I just felt like, that's.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of open-ended. Like,
that's
there wasn't
part.
a big, like, hurrah.
Yeah, so I was like, eh. So that kind of left me.
That's why so many sitcoms just don't end. They don't know how to end it. And I mean, look at every sitcom that ends. It usually just ends with like, this person got married. They're happy.
Yeah,
done.
Well, I was hoping they were going to go in one direction and they went in another. So, but to make sure I don't spoil anything, other than that, the gameplay was extremely fun. The story for most of it was excellent. The main protagonist, who I guess is a famous actor, he plays in like Gotham, things like that. He did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, is he the Joker in Gotham? I think.
Yes, I think you're right. Which is it's kind of funny. That
a couple of my friends are probably roasting me at the moment because I don't know the guy's name because I've never watched Gotham.
Yeah, neither did I. But I know that he did a fantastic job. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was good. So that kind of inspired me to play a game that's kind of similar where it comes to like platforming and like puzzles. So I decided to throw back in Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Cameron Monaghan is the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
Is that the first of the new trilogy?
Second, because there's the Tomb Raider 2015 or whatever they do with the name.
That was just called Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, it was just Tomb Raider, then Year, and then this one was...
They took all of the 90s shooters and just rebranded them as the same game.
Exactly, just with adding a year. So, Rise of the Tomb Raider is the second one in the trilogy, and I've probably played about 2-3 hours of it, and I mean, the first few times I played it, I kind of stopped at one point, and I just, I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. So this is kind of one of those games that I was like, I know it's probably really good. I just need to get past the tutorial part.
Did you play the 2015 one?
Yes. Yeah, I beat that one.
Those were Square Enix, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Crystal Dynamics or something is like the developer, and then the producer is Square Enix. So, I think that's
It's weird how some of them work. Some of them self-develop, some of them publish as well as sometimes develop. It's really weird.
I think all the ones that are not like Final Fantasy pretty much are Crystal Dynamics, because that's Deus Ex, that's Tomb Raider, that's those ones. I think, no.
Mindjack.
Just Cause is, I believe, Square Enix as well, except I just don't know who makes Just Cause. But anyway, so I'm playing that, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's very, very, very similar to Uncharted, to the point where I feel like when Uncharted came out, they were like, oh, crap, you know what? We got to revitalize Tomb Raider, because this is essentially what Tomb Raider could be like, is, nowadays, because there was a big lull for, like, Tomb Raider, and then Uncharted came out, and they competed with the PlayStation 3 version of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I think there was a large quantity of like 90s like polygonal games that didn't really know how to adapt to the new century.
Filter, Tomb Raider.
I mean, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Basically, all of PlayStation's mascots from the 90s were replaced by different mascots for the PS2 era.
They did make a bunch of like Tomb Raiders between that time, but they just like weren't.
They were the same kind of style, like
they were very generic-y and the same, and they were just they didn't seem like they were awful games, but they all just seemed like B tier, like shovelware.
Yeah, didn't Doom have the same treatment? Or Doom kind of had a lot of Doom games. Not a lot, but they had a couple of games in the 2000s that no one really remembers fondly.
Oh yeah, I guess like this. Oh god,
I mean Doom 3,
Doom Eternal,
Spyro and Crash Bandicoot had horrible games.
The new one.
I know. I'm sorry. There's like Doom. I think it's called like Doom Black or something. It literally is. So there was like some sub ones, I guess, but nothing. nothing like I felt like Tomb Raider. It was like so many like different ones.
Are they working on more Tomb Raider games?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah, because they all didn't sell very well. And
The movie didn't do too well.
Yeah, they
either.
sell like progressively less, which is kind of a bummer because I feel like I liked them more than most people. I really enjoyed those games growing up, but I liked these new versions. I think they had a problem where I think what was it, the third one was Xbox One exclusive for a year.
Second one, right? Current one. Yeah. Then they did it out a year later for PlayStation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so that one was Xbox exclusive for a year, and it's like it was kind of strange because I feel like a lot of people like me were kind of bummed. It kind of took all of our some enthusiasm out of it because it was this Tomb Raider game we want to play, but we don't have the console to play it. And then like a year later, it just kind of silently drops where you can play it on PlayStation now. But now
with
it's
all
like
the DLC and everything.
Yeah, but now it's like a year old and it's not making as much news and people aren't really playing it, so it just kind of fell under the radar, I imagine, for a lot of people and probably didn't sell as much because of that.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly really really good with the amount of like survival tactics you have to do, and you have to usually you'll go into one like very like big open area, and you either need to hunt some animals or there's some enemies nearby that you can sneak up to and take them out quietly, or you can just go guns ablazing. So whereas like Uncharted, I felt like once you saw the first enemy, that was it. Like you just went into a gunfight no matter what. This one, it had, you can upgrade your bow, your quiver, everything like that. Different skills. You can get more resources from like
Every game's an RPG.
So yeah, pretty much. It works for this though. It actually works really well for that. So I'm enjoying that, and I'm gonna push through that. And I shouldn't say push through it. It seems fun, so I'll beat that at some point. The other game I picked up and tried because I heard so many good things about it. I believe in 2018 it was a contender for Game of the Year.
Celeste?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to... I like guessing.
Yeah. You're going into my friggin' news thing, aren't you? Anyway, so if there's anybody that loves speed running, platforming, like difficult challenge platforming games, this is for you.
It is Super Meat Boy kind of.
I don't know. I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
That was like a very challenging platformer that came out like a few years before Celeste.
Then maybe it is. I love the art style though. It's very like it's a little bit better than like not 8-bit, but like just under like 16-bit, but it like moves really well, kind of like Shovel Knight. I don't know what you want to call it.
Modern. It's pretty much modern 16-bit.
Yeah.
Or I guess they just call them. I don't necessarily know if every single one of them is, literally 16-bit, but I mean they're pixel style retro game style.
But they do this unique thing where how typically in an RPG when one person's talking, they have like a little square in their picture. This one sometimes, depending on what they're saying, they'll reach out of the square and like point at the person. So it's kind of like it's just kind of like that's kind of a neat like kind of
I think
feature.
I want to say the Phoenix Wright games did that a little bit too.
It was just neat, and I don't know if you've ever played Golden Sun, where when the wording or the script comes up, you hear like music or like sound, and you can if it gets like scary or there's something going on, it gets like increasingly higher or lower. It does that with the sound when someone's talking. So if someone's yelling at you, it's going to screach kind of like loud, like someone's talking.
Voice acting, or is it all text?
No, it's all text. But they do it really really well. No, it is extremely hard. In the first chapter, I died 99 times, so it is difficult. So it's.
How's the storyline? Is there an actual? Is it just kind of like here's a level, or is it actually like it characters and like a point to what you're doing?
Yeah, every time you get to the next chapter, she kind of sits by a fire, and then she meets like her like inner self or something, and it looks the funny thing is it looks evil, like she has red eyes, and she's like, "Who are you, my evil twin?" And she's like, "No, like just because I have red eyes doesn't make me evil." And but then that part makes it more difficult because if she bumps in, like if you bump into her, you die, and because she's like hovering behind you. So, and then it gets ridiculous. At one point she splits into 3. So like if you like jump up, they follow every move that you do. So like if you fail or like you slow down, they'll catch up to you, and then you have to start it all over again. But it is addicting. It is just a really, really difficult platformer, and it's kind of platformer puzzle because you'll get stuck somewhere. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could jump and like shoot through this, and now they keep giving you more abilities. Like there's one that there's like a diamond looking thing that you can pick up, and when you jump, you can do one extra boost, and then that's it. But if you jump, boost, and then land on this diamond thing, you can boost again. So there's like at one point there's like 4 or 5 like of those diamond pieces in there. So you have to jump, boost, like around.
Are you getting more abilities, or is it just like you're learning how to use the abilities you have?
No, you're
as, like,
learning.
the world
You're
is
learning
different?
something new. Like there's almost like these solid rocks, but then I got to this mirror and those solid rocks turned clear, and then they're kind of like colorful now. And I guess now when you jump through them and you do your boost, you can actually fly through the item. But you got to be careful. Like if one of them is pinned up right against a wall and you jump through it, you'll hit the wall and die. So everything's it's like I hate comparing it because I know a lot of people get sick and tired of it, but it's like the Dark Souls of platformers. It's really tough. I know people hate saying that or hate hearing that, like, oh, it's Dark Souls of this or but
Seems
anyway,
like it would just frustrate me because I just don't have the tolerance to get beaten over and over.
I mean, it's quick. It's like you're dead. Next, start again. it's really quick. And
Sorry, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No. You guys finished. I had a completely different
Yeah,
point.
I was gonna just say like you're saying it gets you back into the game really quick because I feel like with games like that, it's super important that you don't have like a 20-second loading screen.
Oh, no, it's
in
instant.
between.
It's instant. You're dead. You go
Even
back.
like,
Dead.
even like 10 seconds.
So it's not like Dark Souls
5
where
seconds.
it's like you're dead. You go to the start. No, it you're basically in one frame, kind of like Zelda, like the old school Zelda, like the first one. You're in one frame, and then if you die in that frame, say you got all the way up to like this top right platform from the bottom, and then you die, you just gotta start back here, not the whole level. But each one, some of them can be really intricate. Like you have to jump from wall to wall to wall, then jump, hit the boost, and not touch a single needle. Some of them you have to activate like an iceberg or not an iceberg, but an icicle that falls, and then you land on that. Like I said, it's just if you're a platformer or you enjoy like those speedrun games where you try and like jump as fast as you can and
if you're a platformer, if one of you listening
if you're a platformer fan, sorry,
I'm a platformer.
Yes, you are a platformer.
So I was gonna say, I don't honestly. I think the fact that so many people say like, "Oh, this is the Dark Souls of this," or "This is the Dark Souls of that," just proves how good of a comparison it is. Dark Souls kind of set the bar for this is the modern version of what a hard game is, and we're not going to go easy on you. It's kind of like when people use the term Metrovania to basically say any style of game that even closely resembles like what a Metroid or a Castlevania is. I've done it. It hasn't caught on, but I'll say like, oh, they pulled an Assassin's Creed 2 when a franchise has one game that I think is pretty subpar, mediocre, and then the next game just fixed literally everything of it. And I've had that with a few games. So I don't really do people get annoyed?
Oh, online it's hilarious. I'm sick and tired.
They get annoyed of everything.
Yeah, that's true. So, but
well.
but it is very unforgiving when it comes to, like I said, if you like touch like a needle or something, that's it. Like you don't have a second, you don't get a hit and then blink like Mario, like, oh, I have a chance to live. No, this is immediate. Like you're dead. Just restart.
Matt was playing a similar game, or at least it reminds me of the game Dan's describing. I know it wasn't Celeste. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was one of those like PlayStation free to play games, but you would die constantly.
Dead Souls?
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah.
No, not Dead Cells. Way before that. This was prior to me moving in. You would play this game where, like, it was like Time Hero or something. I don't know. You would die like almost instantly, and you'd always be a different person, or like a person in the same bloodline as the person who
I know
died.
what game you're talking about. I forget what it's called though.
Yeah, was it a PlayStation Plus game of the month or something like that at one point? Is that how
I would
you got
imagine, because I don't think I bought that
Yeah,
game.
but
It's
so
not Shovel Knight, is it?
no,
It is the night
no.
one. It's Knights. I don't know. It might be in the title. I don't
not
remember.
like a game that's like a popular title that people talk about or anything like that. But
Oh, okay.
basically, it was kind of a procedurally generated game too, because wouldn't the dungeon always be different?
Yep.
So he would keep going into these dungeons, and the dungeon would always be different. And then when you die, you get reborn as someone, I think, who was like in the same bloodline, but they'd have something different about them or something like that.
Yeah,
On the Switch. Well, what system?
PS4.
I was
Okay,
playing on
never mind.
PS4. I'm pretty sure people are mad because I think it's a pretty popular game. So it's weird that none of us know what it's called. But
Oh,
I feel like
I think this was before the Switch came out.
yeah, it was kind of
okay.
kind of a popular, more like indie game, and like it was fun because they had the character. You would have the heir to the next guy in your lineage, and you could choose what powers he have like out of 3. And sometimes they'd have kind of quick, quirky things like some guy would be colorblind, so the game would be in black and white for that run. Some guys would like need glasses, so it'd be kind of fuzzy around the edges, and just like different weapons and different
Portal
abilities.
Knights?
No.
No. Okay.
I want to find out what this is. It sounds pretty.
Knight's Quest?
No.
That sounds like a cheesy.
I'm going to
mobile game.
stop looking up random games on Google.
Um,
Dan, anything else you've been playing or any other games that are on your radar right now?
um, well, I know that-
there's nothing coming out anymore. So
well, this I'm excited for Darksiders Genesis. So it's
is that a continuation of the other Darksiders games?
it's a prequel. It's a prequel, and
Did they have a online one that came out recently, or one that was online only, or not online only, but it was only available for like digital download or something like that? Because they had Darksiders 1,
Yeah.
and I heard Darksiders 2 was slightly better. Did they have anything past that? I thought they had like one other
Darksiders 3. Darksiders 3 as well.
Oh, they
That
did
one
have a
didn't-
3.
That one wasn't
third.
done well, I guess.
It was Rogue Legacy.
So-
that one.
Rogue
Legacy. I have heard of that.
It was kind of neat. I never played it though. Matt did.
Yeah,
He liked
fun.
it.
It was fun. It was difficult though.
Yeah.
So I searched what you just said, and it came up with a game called Death. And I was like, oh,
Mine just came up with Hollow Knight
Rogue
over and
Lineage?
over again.
that's not it.
Rogue Legacy.
Oh, close. Okay. Rogue
coming up
Legacy, huh?
Batman games.
Yeah,
I'm
that-
sorry. What were you guys talking about before I
I
interrupted
don't
you?
know. Dan was talking about something.
Oh, okay. So we can move on.
Darksiders.
Yes. So, Darksiders Genesis is, it's now going to play instead of like a typical like hack and slash where like God of War, where you kind of just like ran around and in like a certain area and then load to the next area. Again, similar to the old school God of War games, not the new one. This one is going more for the dungeon crawler type, like Diablo. So it's gonna
That's
be
a change.
yeah. But one of them is, and what kind of got me sucked in is there's a character that, to me, seems very similar to like Deadpool. I guess he's one of the knights, the four horsemen.
of the apocalypse.
Yeah, and
well,
he's
each game so
snarky.
far has gone through 3 of the 4.
Oh, I thought. Okay, well, the character from the very first one is in this as well. He's one of the 2 playable characters. So there's this new guy who, like I said, he's a horseman. He reminds me of, what's it called? Deadpool, because of his like snarky, witty like comments, and he has a gun instead of, or like some sort of like long range weapon that he shoots, and it looks very similar to like I said, Diablo, where it's like over the top, top kind of angle, and it has like tons of like abilities and monsters going on at once, and it has RPG elements and stuff like that. So just kind of, again, I know I'm a sucker for those like top-down RTS twin stick shooter kind of games.
Yeah.
So
the first 2 Darksiders were THQ. And this, all right. So I was thinking when you mentioned that my first thought was I'm surprised that this series kind of hung around, because it feels like one of those series that would just exist on the previous generation then kind of disappear. You think like it wasn't really like critically acclaimed or anything
Yeah, I
like
don't
that.
know who's buying these games because they never get like amazing reviews, but they just seem to kind of plug along.
So it was THQ, and THQ went out of business, but then they were bought up or merged with someone, and they became THQ Nordic, who's been kind of dealing with the remakes and the new one. The first game followed War, the second game followed Death, and then there's Pestilence and one other one. I don't know which one was in Darksiders 3.
it was Pestilence. Sounds like the woman that's in Darksiders 3.
Darksiders 3.
Yeah, she kind of looks like Storm from X-Men, kind of, sort of.
Fury was in the third.
Okay. Yep.
So
This fourth
Pestilence
one-
must be, I would assume, but if they're going for a completely different style,
Yeah. So it's a prequel, and surprisingly, it's only $40 too. So I'm hoping that's not a sign of like, hey, it's half-assed. So, I mean, they also do have a $400 collector's edition, so which is absolutely insane.
So I, once again, really haven't played too much, but that doesn't mean that I haven't done anything video game related over the past week. So I bought, just yesterday, I bought the final Zelda game to kind of complete the collection of all of the Zelda games that I feel like are worth owning.
Oh, there's a special list.
Well, Link's Crossbow Training didn't make the list. Those
man.
Philips CDI Zelda games didn't make the list.
Are they worth a lot of money, the CDI ones?
Unfortunately, I assume so. I just assume. I don't know how hard they are to get. I know the only gameplay I've really seen is when the Game Grumps went through them, and
It's awful. It's awful.
Whew, man, those MSP animations.
They look like hand painted things.
They did not. They weren't even aged well for the time.
No.
Anyways, so I bought Zelda and the Spirit Tracks off of the eBay.
Isn't that supposed to be the bad one?
Phantom Hourglass was horrible. I heard Spirit Tracks was slightly better.
Oh.
From
I think I heard that as
people
well.
I've talked to.
Was the better one.
This isn't just like word of mouth on the internet. Like people I have talked to in person have told me that they prefer that one. And it actually, even though it has the same model of Link, it's not. Whereas like Phantom Hourglass was like the continuation of Link from Wind Waker, this one is actually like way in the future. So it's not, even though it's the same Link kind of model, that Toon Link model, it's not the same Link from the other game. So I even bought last month, I think I already mentioned this on the podcast, the Zelda. When I originally decided to do A Link Between Zeldas, the podcast that I'm sure if anybody who did know about it notices it hasn't been around for quite a long time. I don't think I made it past episode 3. I originally said that Triforce Heroes didn't make the list because I didn't really consider it kind of a real Zelda game. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized, like, you know what? I feel like I do want to have that and do want to play it because it does fit into the timeline.
Is it a multiplayer?
Yeah, it can be.
I have it.
You don't have. Oh, so we could play together.
Okay. That'd be actually pretty fun.
Yeah, the 3DS.
Yeah, I have it.
So yeah, the only game that I don't have that was like officially made by Nintendo that's a Zelda game is Crossbow Training, which no, that doesn't count. Hyrule Warriors, which Dan, you can speak to this. Did it really have any story elements in it, or was it kind of just where's Zelda?
It doesn't really have any story elements, but if you're a Zelda fan, the amount of Easter eggs that's in that game is like the main menu is like the original map of like the first Zelda. It's just for the music, and if you just want to play around as characters in the Zelda universe and instead of just Link every time.
See, Zelda for me is more about the gameplay and the world more than just the characters and the references.
Yeah. I mean, it plays well. It's just
what is it based off of?
It's Dynasty Wars.
Dynasty Wars. That's right. I don't like those games.
It's repetitive, but like to play one round, it's
I'm definitely not buying it to play one round.
No, especially not for the Switch. It's like $60 still for the Switch. Well, I mean everything with a Mario in it.
Yeah, what is going on with that? How have those games over almost 3 years now not depreciated in value whatsoever? Those Nintendo games, they're still like $60.
Mario, they never do. Mario Party, even for the GameCube.
Nintendo gets to set their own prices, so none of them depreciate. Except for Mario versus Rabbids, because that's not technically a Nintendo game. So
wait a minute. Yeah. So that's the thing. Nintendo actually tells the retailers how much to sell the game for, or they sell them in mass at a specific price and never put that down.
I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, they just never put the price down. So they're they're selling it at the same cost to the retailers, so the retailers can't drop the price because all those like sales and kind of like clearance prices are kind of set by they're typically set by the company. Like the game's just not going to make as much anymore. Sometimes you'll just see like a clearance where the store has to get the shelf out of there. But
those PlayStation minis.
But yeah, presumably they would get money back if they bought a game for $60 and sold it for $40 that was new. Like that new price is kind of set by the company.
I mean, every Mario, every Zelda, like whether it's for the GameCube, the Wii took a hit. Like the Wii games took a hit. For some reason, they went down a lot. I don't know if it's just because the Wii was like
The original Wii?
oversaturated. Yeah.
Oh,
so like
it was
like
not
I remember
only-
I found Twilight Princess at like a thrift store for like $3, and I was like, holy crap, like this is great.
Yeah,
and then I realized it's not even that. Like you can find it on eBay for like $4. So it was like, oh wow, all right.
Yeah,
the
there's a lot
GameCube
of-
one is something. That one is expensive.
Really?
Yeah, the GameCube one is still like 30 or 40.
Is that one of the many games I sold to you and then bought back eventually? I don't think I ever sold that one to you. Twilight Princess?
I'm almost certain I got Twilight Princess on my own separate.
Yeah. The Wii had an oversaturation at one point because I think the thing that killed the Wii was smartphones. Like,
well, that and crappy like third-party games at a Kohl's.
that wasn't a problem before the whole smartphone. All of these little free app games were on the smartphones and everything like that. That was like around the time that we started dipping in sales, and then it was just there was over 100 million units shipped of the system alone, and then all you had was shovelware. So everything had to go down in price because everyone was trading in their Wiis. They weren't selling any games. That doesn't surprise me that anything from that system went on sale or went down in price. But yeah, Hyrule Warriors and Link's Crossbow Training, I think, are the only two games that didn't make the list. Obviously, until they port the HD versions of Twilight and Wind Waker to the Switch, I'm gonna have to deal with the originals. But luckily, I have a long ways to go before I get to them. So yeah, I don't think I'm missing any. I don't think I left any off the list.
I just gotta beat them all.
Wait, what's the next? So you
beat
Minish Cap.
Well, I'm at the
right. I don't know why I pointed to my cap.
Because Cap.
Oh. Anyway, so you're pretty much done with that one.
I'm at the final boss, but I've been at the final boss.
I was going to say, you've been at the final boss, I feel, for like 5 episodes.
Yeah,
Get going. Beat it. Work on the next Zelda.
Been doing more work on the podcast.
I know. Yes, he has. He's been very good.
Yeah, I just have to get back into a groove and,
Well, what's the next one on the list after that?
Ocarina of Time.
Ooh.
Which I've never beaten.
Well,
I've beaten it 20 times.
I was just going to say, that's complete bullshit.
I've 100%ed it like five or 6 times.
This game, just play the main story and then, go to the next one. You've gotten all the gold Skulltulas.
But I can get them again.
You don't need to. Go to the next one. Go crazy on the games you haven't played
What's the next one? I think do you know what the next one was on the list? I'm almost
Majora's Mask?
I'm 99. No, not in the timelines I was doing.
Really? Because I thought Majora's. Oh,
it splits into 3 though.
Right.
I'm almost certain it was Link's Awakening was the next one, which I
actually jumped ahead because I remember I did that what's it called, multiple choice thing, like, hey, which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Play? So the next game on the list was actually Link to the Past and then Link's Awakening.
Ooh, I have not beaten Link to the Past.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other Zelda games I left off the list. I'm almost certain. I could be wrong. But yeah, so, and then I don't want to announce anything yet, but I had some good brainstorming ideas about what I can do with Zelda in the future. It's probably not going to be continuing the podcast, but I might be continuing
How
it
dare you?
in a different form.
Okay.
That involves our podcast. Just
nice.
Did I not tell you this, Matt?
You did. I'm playing for the audience.
Oh.
That was good acting.
Yeah, that was
kudos.
Man, that was like Andy level of deception there. Yeah, but I'm not gonna announce anything yet until I have something more solidified to show. Kind of like how for like 3 weeks I've been talking about this animation for the intro to the YouTube channel that I haven't finished. So
Sweet.
To be fair, I've been working very diligently on it. It's just running into the fact that it's a 6-year-old program that they come out with a new version of every year, and mine's behind on the times, and it keeps having these weird errors, but it should be done soon, very soon. So that's all the gaming news Andy has. I didn't get to talk about it last week, but I have been playing World War Z with these two guys. We played again last night.
We touched on it last week.
I don't have much more to add than you two had. It's definitely a lot of fun. I definitely agree what you guys said last week, that it's probably not something I'd play alone. Definitely something that's better in a group. Dan's mentioned a few times that it's basically Left 4 Dead, and I mean, he couldn't be more spot on. It basically is Left 4 Dead, like change a few things, but they definitely took that model, like, you know, they had a property, they had a zombie based property, and they're like, all right, what can we do with this? And it's like, well, it works. They basically took the Left 4 Dead formula and basically said this works best.
Yeah, it's just a really good 30-second game loop that you're just doing over and over again.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead. The only huge difference between the two is Left 4 Dead's a little more. I mean this in a good way because I love the Left 4 Dead 2. It's a little more cartoony in Left 4 Dead, I would say.
Do they have upgrades and stuff? Because I feel like that's
No.
something that's really cool in this game.
No,
where there's
no.
like your guns are getting upgraded, you're getting skills
Yeah.
for your class, which is
No,
nice. Like,
everything in Left 4 Dead
kind of
2
adds
was just
spice to the game.
Also,
straight
not
picking up stuff.
Not very like Left 4 Dead. I felt like you didn't take seriously, especially with
That's what I mean. It was more goofy.
Well, especially with the cast of characters, like grabbing adrenaline.
Yeah. I think that's what I liked most about it. I liked the.
Oh, this is for
charm
you,
it had.
Michael. Football. Yeah. Sorry,
Jesus.
that was a
I don't know
video
what
that
that
he
was,
loved.
but-
It was a YouTube video that was all about. It was.
Is Wilkie even still listening? I guess we'll find out.
We'll
if he
find
hears
out.
This.
We'll find out. So
Yeah,
that was for you, Mike.
The biggest problem I'm having with this game is like we only play it once a week, and I have to count on you two to play this game, so I can't just play it whenever I want. As someone that just like goes home and plays a game for like 8 hours on a Saturday and just like plows through it, it's hard to not play this game for 6 days out of the week because it's a lot of fun.
But again, if you tried to play it by yourself, you would be like, "This is trash."
I mean, we
No,
played
it's
as
not
a group
trash.
and we
It's
got
just-
our ass kicked. We upped the difficulty to medium last night.
We need a fourth member. So if you have a PlayStation
Yeah,
and you have this, that AI character that's sitting there with a giant number 1 above their head because
their
they're
level.
still level 1, even though we're all mostly like level 5 and up, it would help.
True.
Somebody to breach those damn friggin' charges so that we can actually get in those like super secret areas that have tons of ammo that we keep missing.
So why don't you guys tell us, or I guess Dan, since you brought it up for the podcast, why don't you tell us a little more about what's going on
Yeah,
in the world of Silent Hill?
Oh yes.
Now, is this different news than what you guys talked about last week?
Yes.
Because you guys, I was
really.
Last week was, I should have labeled last week like the horror. That should have been the Halloween episode. It was like Resident Evil straight into Silent Hill. And that's kind of what we're doing today, too. You talked about Resident Evil. Now we're going back to Silent Hill. So it's kind of funny.
So Konami finally addressed the rumor a little bit.
Konami.
I mean, Konami unfortunately is not the most reliable group right now, considering they're like, "Oh yeah, we're making a game. It's a pachinko machine."
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not like they've been trying to pretend that wasn't a fact, though. Like, they've been like, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. It's not like they've been like pretending to be like a major player in video games right now, up until I guess hearing this news, and I guess they sort of have alluded keeping the Metal Gear series alive. But
yeah, I mean, it seems like they want to get back into the gaming
Which is
world
good.
again, which is good. I don't want them to
Yeah, they have
take,
such good IPs.
Yeah, I mean, two of my favorites are in their IP. Even Castlevania too. I played it a lot as a kid. Just either sell them or fix them.
I forgot Castlevania was a Konami property.
Originally. Yeah, I don't know what it is now because I know it came out the what is it called? Lords of Shadow.
Was that not Konami?
I don't know if it was.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but
I'm not a big Castlevania guy.
something
play a lot
about
of
the
them.
hack and slash like vampire thing. I was like, oh, that was a really good game. Unfortunately, the ending or the big surprise in that game was spoiled for me, so I was like, oh fuck.
It was created and developed by Konami.
Oh, it is. Okay, good. So they have the capability. So
Kojima Productions was involved at one point.
yes, I remember he touched on it. I just didn't know what he actually did for the game. But so Konami recently said, like, hey, we're listening to fans, and we have two. And I guess they didn't say it, but there's also multiple sources that are saying that there's multiple Silent Hill games being in development right now.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It seems like one of them is supposed to be kind of like a remake, and then the other one's supposed to be kind of like a Telltale style, like, maybe episodic, or like maybe just like a very different gameplay style than we're used to with Silent Hill. And I just like love the idea of having multiple Silent Hills being made at the same time with like a very different creative look at how a Silent Hill game could be.
I just hope it's not like Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Rogue. Remember they did that at the same time? They're like, oh, they're going to launch within a week of each other, and one's going to be for the PlayStation 3.
This sounds a little bit different than that. That was...
Well, again,
I
this
feel
is
like
coming
that
from-
was Ubisoft really overselling the mark, kind of like the EA coming out those two games at once. Titanfall 2 and Battlefield, like they were oversaturating the market with their own IP and also stretching their workforce, where like Konami's people must have like nothing to do right now.
Yeah, and I kind of like that they're somewhat acknowledging that they've kind of lost their way in the Silent Hill series. Like the first one was really good, the second one was like a masterpiece, the third one was pretty good, and then like after that they just kind of slowly went downhill to the point where like it's hard to defend any of those later ones, like or the PSP one.
It's not even just that, like their properties in general, like the last game that came out that even garnered any critical acclaim was probably Metal Gear Solid 5, and not everybody even really liked that.
Yeah, true. I didn't really like that one, but
they did.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we're actually going to get these games that I thought were kind of never going to be back in my life. They could actually be back in my life. So
I do have a question for you too regarding this, but first I do want to point out, just because you brought it up, Castlevania Lords of Shadow was developed by Konami as well, and it looks like that's the last one they made.
Lords of Shadow 2 as well, but I don't know if that's Konami. That game was not nearly as highly regarded as the first one. I know that.
Sequels, Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate.
That was like a DLC.
Okay.
Or something along that line.
Lords of Shadow 2.
Yep.
Yep, published by Konami, developed by Mercury Stream.
Okay.
But still published by Konami. Like they own the IP. Yep. Basically, that's what comes down to.
The second one wasn't received nearly as well. Or Mirrors of Fate, I believe, was an HD touch-up of like an older Castlevania. I don't think it was a completely new like IP.
Was it a touch-up of Symphony of the Night?
No, it wasn't that. It was something else.
Oh. So going back to Silent Hill.
Yeah, let's stop going off Castlevania side tangents that
and we were talking about
not understanding anything that's happening.
When we were talking about,
do you like hack and slash?
Wait a minute. We're not allowed to talk about something that you don't have any frame of reference on?
I just feel like you keep trying to say something and then we go off on like a 2-minute Castlevania tangent for some reason.
I'll remember that next time he's talking about World of Warcraft.
He hasn't brought that up in such a long time.
I know he hasn't, but
I feel like we barely talked about Castlevania. But anyways, which Silent Hill do you guys think that they're going to remake though? Do you think they're going to start with 1 or they're going to start with 2? And like really?
Well, they didn't really say remakes. They just said like a soft reboot, right?
Oh,
that was kind of the rumor.
So they can do anything.
I thought you meant I thought you said remake, like they were gonna take one of their older ones.
So I'm sure it'll be just kind of like Silent Hill Town. For some reason, someone will be dragged there by like a letter or like maybe a phone call or something newer, or like who knows. But
unless they're gonna try to pull a Resident Evil 7 where they like change up the formula of the game very drastically.
I hope not. I mean,
maybe we'll have to see.
I don't want it to be like all action, but I also don't want it to be like a walking simulator type of thing. That's why with PT, I don't understand why it got everyone like super psyched. I didn't really do anything.
I thought you were psyched for that game.
I was psyched for the idea of an open Silent Hill game that you can walk around and do stuff, but I need a weapon. I need something. You were just literally walking around a hallway the whole time.
Well, we also don't know what that game was going to become.
No,
that was just the beginning of it. I was floored by like graphically just how nice it was for that little part. And then there was wasn't there that indie developer that was trying to make kind of a spiritual successor to PT, but it ended up folding.
Well, I mean, Konami's very protective of their crap, so it got like shut down, but.
Oh, it got shut down.
Yeah, same thing with like Metal Gear.
That.
Someone was working on like a Metal Gear Solid 1 like HD like touch up, and they got pretty far. And then Konami's like, nope, shut it down. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, Silent Hill's a little different than Resident Evil though. Like Resident Evil, I feel like the reason that 7 was so shocking was just because like we spent so many games. A Resident Evil game? Well, yeah, we spent so many games revolving around the same characters, and even though 6 was kind of gross, we still had like the charm of the game in there. And Silent Hill, does it really carry?
I don't know if 6 had the charm at all.
Well, all right, it had the characters in it.
Oh, okay.
Like 5 had Wesker being hit.
5 had the charm,
volcano and the rock and all that crap. But Silent Hill, does each Silent Hill game really bleed into the others like that? Aren't they all kind of like different stories? They're like kind of more segregated, so maybe it lends itself better to a remake like that than Resident Evil did.
Well, the idea of the town of Silent Hill is interesting because it also makes sense because Silent Hill is supposed to bend and change depending on who's there. So
wait, is the same town in each game?
Yes, and it's supposed to get more kind of powerful throughout the series in a way. Like it's like the way I've read about it is it gets bigger and it stretches out more to where, like, you know, in Silent Hill 4, the room, it's actually going, like, it's reaching outside of Silent Hill to some extent. So there's kind of like some weird undersurface of like not a overarching story, but just like it's not just, you know, one and one and one.
So do the games all take place like canonically in the same town? Like they're all like of the same continuity?
They don't mention anything. I don't think any of them really mention the previous game.
Yeah, not that I can remember.
So, but I think that it's just a different interpretation on a different part of the town.
Well, then it lends itself better to a RE7 type remake then, because it's not like you were really like directly connected to anything that came out previously. Whereas Resident Evil 7 was calling itself Resident Evil 7, and it had like literally nothing to do with the other 6 whatsoever.
Yeah, it was originally called Kitchen. That's what the demo was for Resident Evil 7. It was called Kitchen. There was a game where your hands were tied behind your back, and then they were like, "Oh crap, VR isn't selling well. Let's strap a Resident Evil thing in front of it, and then, oh, by the way, here's a picture of the umbrella like helicopter.
Wait, so
there's your reference."
So it did start out as a different game.
Yeah, it was Kitchen. It was a demo. It was a demo for the VR, and then people were frightened by it.
Oh, I always just assumed that. I didn't know it was true.
The creepy girl lady that that's like your ex-wife or something, or your wife, was the monster in that game. Like her evil self. Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, let's just make it a VR first person." Again, it was good. It just didn't it doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game. It just felt like a horror game, it was a great horror game, but it just wasn't Resident Evil. It had no connection at all. And I understand if they want to branch off to a different, you know, segment or whatever, but connect it more to
you both liked it though. Right?
I liked it, but it same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. It was a great game in itself, but
yeah, it was a bad Resident Evil game.
As like a series, like connector, like
it's a great game. It's not a good Resident Evil game.
It's not a good Resident Evil game. It wasn't even a Resident Evil game. Like I said, you find a picture of a helicopter with the umbrella symbol on it. That's one reference I got, and I think there's another like letter that you find that says something about like
some of the keys,
Raccoon City.
Some of the doors
something.
have like different weird keys that you have to find, but that's like it.
That's it. So it just felt like a horror game. Instead of a mansion, it was more of like a small house with like secret corridors.
Yeah, it basically had as much to do with Silent Hill as it did Resident Evil. Just kind of that like more genre piece as opposed to any sort of.
Honestly, if they slapped on Silent Hill, I would have been like, oh, okay. Like this makes the same amount of sense. A lot of it's like psychological kind of horror. You know, where the guy, the father, like doesn't die, even getting from like chopped in the head and hit by a car. It's like, nope, he's still living. Lit on fire, whatever the hell it is. But it was still fun, and I guess there's also news or rumors flying around that Resident Evil 8 is going to be in first person as well. So I'm starting to think that
I wonder if it'll be in VR too.
I mean, if it is, that's awesome. I just kind of wish they would not name it Resident Evil 7, like the main part of the franchise. I wish
like
they
a side
did
shoot series or something.
I wish they did it like Resident Evil Revelations, where you knew it was taking place in the Resident Evil universe, but you knew it was a separate style of game.
But this one didn't even really seem like it was taking place in the same universe. Like it seemed like just something completely like if you didn't say it was a Resident Evil game, I wouldn't have thought it. But at the same time, maybe their plan is, hey, we're going to continue with this new engine that we have for the Resident Evil games and this new kind of direction for the Resident Evil games, and then for the fans of the old series, we're going to keep remaking every Resident Evil game.
Just keep making them.
Well, I wonder.
Of course, you can stop with 4.
Oh, yeah.
True.
4. Well, even 4 is still very, very playable.
That's what I mean. They can remake 4, but stop with 4.
Well, yeah, they can. Well, they can go to a lot of the side ones. They can go to Code Veronica. They could go to.
Oh, Matt, you could finally play it.
Yeah, they could go to
be able to see it.
They could. Well, I guess they're technically already doing that with the multiplayer component. What was that? Those called? Oh God.
The Mercenaries modes?
No, but there was a game that had a multiplayer component to it too.
Like Outbreak?
Outbreak 1 and 2, yeah. So, but I guess that's what the multiplayer mode for Resident Evil 3 is supposed to be. But I'm excited to try that. I thought, especially when I was getting 3 regardless, but the icing on the cake was like, hey, you're getting the multiplayer part of it as well. I was like, oh, that's going to be really fun. Just kind of seems like something to, a nice time waster. Like, oh, I'm gonna be the, the killer or whatever, the guy that like sends shit to try and kill the opposing players. Kind of like how Friday the 13th was kind of fun. Like every now and then you were, I know Andy's giving me a weird face. Yes, it is not the most.
It was fun up until that last game.
But if I guarantee you, if we had 8 friends that were pretty good friends and one person was Jason, that game would be fun. So I mean, then again, that's not saying much for multiplayer games.
I still don't
like
think
saying
it had,
you can
even with that, I don't think there was a lot of longevity. Really?
No. Again, it's not longevity, but this type of game might have. Whereas you can be like I'm going to send these type of enemies your way. I haven't seen a lot of gameplay of it. Now that it's coming with Resident Evil 3, I probably should.
I don't think they've released a lot of information about it, or like what kind of longevity it will have. Like if there's upgrades, if it's kind of like gated, if there's different difficulties, or how that all works. I don't think they've really said much about anything like that.
Oh, I thought they released some gameplay of it because there's going to be one player out of 5 is going to be like basically the
trap
he's going to be
master.
He's going to be in the operating room kind of thing, and he's going to be screwing people with what's it called, like traps and stuff like that. And I'm guessing the more you hit people, the more you damage people, the more points you get. Therefore, you can set out this trap, or
I'm wondering if maybe they didn't. The reason they might not be worried about longevity, and that's why it's being packed with RE3, whereas originally it was going to be like its own game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't have touched it if it was its own game.
Umbrella Corps didn't really have too much legs, so I played that at PAX before it came out.
Oh, Umbrella Corps?
Yeah.
Didn't it feel like you were like floating? Like you were moving so fast in that
not
game.
Good.
It just felt ridiculously
not good.
Goofy. I would love for them to make a Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City 2, except fix it.
What was wrong with it?
It's just people. I mean, first of all, the enemies were like friggin' bullet sponges. You'd have a human in a t-shirt coming at you, and it would take like 60 bullets to take them down.
It sounds
like
about
the
right.
Division.
So, yeah, except the worst thing is they didn't. You know how some enemies, they kind of look like, this is going to take a lot of bullets. These guys, like, they're the type of enemies you see in, like, Uncharted, where you, like, put one bullet in their chest, and it's like, up, they're down. Nope, this is like, reload, still nothing. Plus, like, the cutscenes, you could tell it was on, like, a budget. It was a very budgeted game, but it was still, I thought each character had a little bit of, like, a different class. One of them was more of a tank, like a typical, like, zombie, or, like, team-oriented co-op game.
Just checking all the boxes.
Yeah, so I still thought it was fun because of the nostalgia factor. You walk through, like, the Resident Evil 1 like laboratory, and then you got out and saw Mr. X, and then the third one you saw Resident Evil Nemesis, all in like one game, so it was kind of neat.
That's cool.
It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't well received, but I don't know, I just kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, it kind of felt like a Mercenaries mode, except like with a story to it. So, but yeah, so yay horror games.
All right, guys, what else we got?
They announced the Phantasy Star Online 2 beta for the Xbox.
I knew there was something else that I forgot to mention.
There's plenty that you forgot to mention. It's kind of strange.
That's prepared.
Been looking forward to this because I'm always looking for the new like big MMO to play. And something that's kind of particularly nice about these games is you don't need like 40-man raids or anything. You can just kind of play like, I think I haven't played it in so long, but I think you can just play like 4 players, or maybe there's a few larger ones, but it seems like it'd be much more manageable to just kind of play for a few hours, not have to time your schedule or your night about when you're going to play like you would in like a World of Warcraft raid. So the beta starts. It's strange. I thought it was going to be like a weekend or a couple weeks or something. It's literally like 30 hours. It's like next Friday the 7th between 5 p.m. and then it ends at like Sunday or Saturday night. And like they're doing this weird thing where there's if you play it, you get these unlockables that are unlocked for when you actually play the game, and some of them are really cool. There's like there's these little mags that follow you and they help you out and while you're playing the game, and they can like shoot and heal and some weird stuff like that, I believe. And there's one that like looks like a Dreamcast that I really want. But to get it, you have to do 3 of these timed missions during this 30-hour period, and there's only I think 6 or 7 timed missions, so you have to make sure that you're playing, and they're only like 30. There's only like a 30-minute window that you can do them, so it's like between 8:30 and 9 there's a 30-minute window where you can do this quest, and there's like 7 or 8 of them.
So this is a remake or is this a sequel?
No, it's. I mean, it's technically a sequel to the first one, but it's been out in Japan since
That's
2012.
right. That's right. I remember you mentioning that. I forgot if there was already a second
Yeah, and they
one.
they kept saying they were going to bring it out, and then they never brought it out, and they're finally bringing it out on the Xbox first, and then the PC.
Okay. So what are you getting it for, or what are you doing?
I'm getting it on
the beta.
I'm going to play the beta, which is only on Xbox right now. So if you want to sign up, I think you can still time to sign up. They start preloading on February 3rd. I think it's like 70 gigs. It's like a huge download.
I'm down for
just
that.
a beta.
I'm down to try that.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like fun. I'm hoping I can find some time during that tight window to play. And they still haven't released any information about when the game's coming out, but I'm looking forward to that. Another thing I wanted to mention, we were talking last week, in the last couple of weeks, about that like PS4.
Before you move on, just in case our listeners don't know, can you explain exactly like what kind of game Phantasy Star Online is?
Sure, it's like it's a hub-based MMO, so it's like you're going to this hub area. I'm trying to think of a game that I could compare it to, but you're like kind of like Diablo, where you have a town where you get all your missions and you talk to shopkeepers and you can trade stuff in, but then you like go out on missions, and it's usually you and a few other people, and you just it's kind of like Diablo. You go and you're crawling through a dungeon, and then you get to the end and you fight a boss or whatever. And then you get that experience, and you get the money, and you get the equipment.
So it's like dungeon crawling raids.
Yeah.
Is it like anime style? Sounds like
definitely.
It would be.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's definitely like if you're into Diablo, it's pretty much that, but like more anime style, more like.
I guess when I said listeners,
more
I
like
wanted you to explain it for me.
More over the shoulder as opposed to
For a
kind
friend.
of. It's not not as much like top down as Diablo. It's more kind of like over the shoulder, third person ish perspective. And honestly, I didn't play that much of it because like I never. It was kind of a pain to always play before because when it came out first on Dreamcast, it was like you had to have a Dreamcast, which I didn't have. You had to have like an internet connection, and they released it on like the GameCube and a couple other systems for.
And that was back during dial-up days. So you really couldn't like.
Yeah, it was
hammer down the phone line.
It was
with
kind of a whole
Dreamcast.
thing. It was like ahead of its time. But now that like once they announced that the sequel that came out in 2012 or whatever, I was really excited to play that because they had been teasing how it's going to come out here. They even had like an English website like coming soon, and then they just kind of stopped working on it altogether and stopped mentioning it, stopped tweeting about it to the point where it was dead. And then Phil Spencer announced last year at E3 that they're bringing it back. So I'm excited to kind of start that afresh and see how it plays. Hopefully I'll get some time to play it next week, and then hopefully it won't take too long for the game itself to come out. But this is like a closed beta, and then they're going to do an open beta, so it might be a little while. So you got to sign up. You got to download their dumb little Xbox Insider Hub to sign up for the can you get chosen? It seems like they're not going to be very picky, though. I think as long as you download that and sign up like before, probably this weekend, you should be fine. But
Well, as long as there's going to be a open beta kind of later on, I guess it doesn't really matter as much if you get into the closed beta or not. But I mean, you miss out on like the sweet exclusives.
There's some exclusives. I don't know if it's like you can't earn it. Maybe you'll be able to earn it in game later, but I know it's like like there's some like experience boosters and just some like dumb things like that. Like it is like a free to play game, so there's a lot of kind of stores and microtransactions. So I can't really speak to if those are egregious or not. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Cool.
So the other thing I wanted to mention was, so we were talking about those like leaks about the PS4 and PS5 announcement schedule, and it's like there was some talks that it was supposed to be as early as February 5th. Seems like that's going to be less and less likely as time goes on because February 5th is literally last week, and we haven't heard anything about it. And I actually looked back to 2013. They actually just to see what kind of lead time they had between when they announced the event and when they actually had it. So it was announced last year, February 1st, and then they had the event on the 20th. So that was like 20 days that they had heads up on before the to get all the people that needed to get flights that were going to see it in person or whatever.
But now we're like less than a week away from that.
Yeah, so it's looking less and less likely. So that's true. So it almost kind of calls into question all the other things we've learned from these leaks in the last couple of weeks. So it's like it's kind of all conjecture. We'll just kind of really just have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll hear something soon. That does kind of give me hope that like last year it was February, so it could be now that we're
Last year, you mean
Sorry,
when the
last-
PS4
yeah.
launched or was revealed?
Sorry, what was that?
You mean when the PS4 was revealed?
Yeah, sorry,
right?
in 2013. So it'll be interesting to see. It could be literally we're at the point where it could be any day now. We're here when this announcement is, and I mean this is all assuming they do it the same way. They could hold their powder and do it. Next month they could They could just do it in such a way where they don't have to have reporters, fly out and just kind of be like, oh, hey, we're doing it in 2 days or whatever. So definitely interesting there to see what they're going to do.
I really hope that the next generation of systems are backwards compatible all the way. That would be just
gonna be hard,
absolutely fantastic. I mean, even if they, the PlayStation 3 was really tough to emulate or whatever, that's fine. But with PlayStation 1 and 2, and
it is getting a bit cumbersome trying to hook up my older systems using the AV cables.
Yeah, but not only that, just I feel like they could remarket those games. This other company called Limited Run Games, they do a really great job of making, like, people basically request, hey, we want this game, we want a physical copy of this game for this system, and if they get enough votes on it, they reach out to the company, and then they make it. So and they did it with Celeste recently. And now Celeste was so popular that even like Best Buy and all those have taken orders on it. So now you could get it somewhere else. But if it was like a niche title, but how neat would that be if they, if they announce, hey, we're going to be making the physical version of, the Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, on a disc for PlayStation 5. So it'll update, but it's a physical disc for, I don't know, $20 or something. I think that would be neat.
I don't know. I don't care if they're repackaging the old games on discs, but if they can let me play my older discs that I already have, that would be nice.
Well, that too, but I'm saying for the people
like I'm
that
not going
don't
out
have
and
it.
Well, that's what they'll probably just get it on the online store, I would assume.
Well, yeah, they'll get it on the online store.
There's only so many games you can put on physical disc where they think they can actually like sell copies.
Oh yeah, but I feel like those epic games, like they could do like a generation, because you're doing it from PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, potentially PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
So
like a collection deal.
Yeah, and not only that, hey, Metal Gear Solid 4 never came out for any other system. They could relaunch that for, hey,
yeah, that is so. Oh, that's the PS3 thing.
Yeah, that's the PS3. So
Dan, but it looks like you have something
gifts
propped
for
up
people.
Is that the free games of the month for
free
both systems?
Games of the month for both systems, and this is some pretty good stuff, at least on the PlayStation side. So PlayStation Plus is now offering 3 free games. Oh, sorry, starting Tuesday, February 4th. You can get the BioShock collection, which includes BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite.
Nice.
And all single player add-on content for those games. That's actually pretty good. The Sims 4, so if you like running around and talking to people in a house, you can play Sims 4. I don't know.
A lot of people.
My wife loves it.
The original Sims was a juggernaut when it came out. Like everybody loved it. I never got into it. I was a Sim City kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people like that. The slice of life.
So, and then this one
Second
might
Life
pique
stuff.
Matt's interest. A free PlayStation VR game, Firewall 0 Hour.
That's exciting.
So, and I guess there's a multiplayer 4v4 component to it.
Yeah, the whole game's kind of multiplayer. That's kind of the thing. It's like Call of Duty almost, like where that's the main
Oh, it
draw.
doesn't have like a campaign?
I'm not sure if it has a
I thought
campaign.
it did. I could've
It might
sworn
have
it
a
did.
campaign, but I think that's kind of the draw is the multiplayer if there is a single player. That's exciting because it makes me wonder if they're going to kind of, drip out VR games now as like a third game going forward. Would be really sweet.
That would be really neat. And it would kind of get people like, all right, you know what? I don't have to pay for, a VR game. At this point, it's, free every month or something. And then they could push out something.
Yeah, I just wonder if you can use you can play Firewall 0 Hour without the
It
gun.
does say that. It says yes, the game does come or typically came packaged with that precision the
aim
controller, but you do not need it. You can play it with the
I wonder if that will play okay. I'll have to try it.
So we'll see how that goes. Might be a little cumbersome, but and then at the moment, so until February 3rd, you can also get the Nathan Drake collection, which is really good for free. Which is
Goat Simulator.
Yes, and Goat Simulator. But you only have Goat Simulator and Nathan Drake until February 3rd, and then it's going to go with the 3 I was talking about prior. Then, if you hop over to Microsoft, and if you have the Xbox Live Gold, they have Batman the Telltale series, the complete season. I don't know what you want to call it, but so that is available right now until it looks like they do theirs in middle of the month. But as well as Styx, Shards of Darkness. That's kind of like a third person. I'm trying to think of it because I just bought the physical copy of it like a few weeks ago. But it looks kind of like a sneaky third person, almost like Thief was on the Xbox, the original Xbox. So there's that, and then if you're feeling more Star Wars, as if we haven't had enough already, Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, is available.
Oh, whew. Whew.
What are you whooing about?
I saw 2. So I thought it was going to be Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Farts.
What?
Attack of the Clones. That was the worst movie.
There is a Lego game of that.
I know. That's
So-
what I thought that was.
And now they're making the Lego game of the newest series, which is gonna be the worst. Hey, look, here's Captain Phasma, and there she goes.
Hopefully, everybody listening. Oh wait, that was.
She was dead in the last one.
Yeah, but people didn't know that for sure until they saw the
Sorry.
new one. But I don't know. It's been a few months now.
All right, well, I'm not gonna spoil anything else, but yes, it was such a waste.
I don't think. I'm sure everybody who wanted to see that movie has seen it already. We're not a movie podcast. It doesn't matter.
We can talk about whatever here.
Bruce Willis was dead at the end of
No
Sixth
rules.
Sense.
Oh my God! Why? Did you just say that?
I know. I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, that was ruined for me before I got to see the movie too.
Yep. That's one of those big things.
So Dan reminded me subconsciously that he was going over those games, and I thought I would just quickly kind of go over what is releasing in February, because I know a lot of things have been getting pushed back, but there's still a lot of games coming out.
Is anything coming out in February?
Neo 2 was
Define
supposed to, but
Anything?
Something I want to play?
Don't
speaking
know.
of which, I know you don't like Matt. I
love me.
Yeah, I know that. I said that weirdly. And all right, let me repeat that.
I'm my favorite person.
Matt, I know that you do not typically like Dark Souls, that
Correct.
stuff. What if there was a game that was a lot easier, but it had a similar format?
Star Wars, you mean?
No. Neo
Okay.
for the PlayStation 4. I would highly suggest it. Suggest it?
I don't think Matt's gonna like it.
Neo?
Andy disagrees.
Do you like samurai games?
Yeah, I was a big Tenchu fan.
So this game I thought was it's unlike the Dark Souls ones where you can't really jump. This one is very platformer friendly. You're jumping around.
That was a PlayStation Plus game a few months ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I could play it.
But
yeah.
what's really neat about it too? Well, first of all, it's dirt cheap right now, especially now that the second one's coming out. They're trying to push people to get it. But what's also neat too is you have 3 different what do you want to call them? Stances. So one of them is like a heavy stance, so that when you swing, it's going to do more damage, but you're slower. You can do mid range or you can do quick. So and you can switch between them at any time. So
Sounds complicated.
well, I mean, anyway, no, it's a lot easier than the other games. It's out of all of them, it's probably the easiest.
Yeah, maybe I'll download it.
But
I do it.
it's very customizable and.
I am trying to fill this time between now and those hot games dropping
Maybe you can
not-
fill it with these.
to not buy a bunch of games, to try to buy new games and just go into my
Oh, if you want to
backlog.
borrow Neo, let me know.
So
Well, I have it. I can just download
Oh, you
it.
have Neo.
Well, it was a PS Plus game, so I have it.
it was
I'll just be able to.
Yeah, but if it's free, like, is it only free for that month?
no.
Oh, you downloaded it.
as long as you add it to your library, you can download
Oh, and
it
you did?
whenever. Yeah.
No,
awesome.
but you have to have a so if I deleted my PlayStation Plus subscription,
Yeah, you need.
I can't play those. But if I re-upped it, they'll still be there in my library.
Yeah. So okay, I didn't even know you had that.
Yeah,
So,
you don't have to download it. Like you don't have to spend hard drive space on it. Oh, yeah, like Matt said, you just add it to your library.
Yeah, I just do that every month. Just
that's how I played Soma
So
originally.
games coming out in February, it's not looking.
Darksiders is like the
It's
only one.
not
That's,
looking great. There is one game I'm interested in on this list.
and what is that? What is some of the list? I'm interested.
Well, I'm gonna go down the whole list.
Alrighty then.
Dawn of Fear for the PlayStation 4.
Fear of Dawn.
Life is Strange, the complete season. Life is Strange 2, the complete season. I guess, they've just been episodic up until this point. Monster Energy Supercross 3 for everything. I assume that's just a dirt bike game. The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance Tactics. I think that's a phone game, but it says it's coming out for all the systems, so maybe it's not just a phone game. The Sims 4, Tiny Living. I'm assuming that's an add-on for The Sims 4.
Probably.
Zombie Army 4, Dead War for PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, that's the makers of Sniper Elite. Except they just change it to like zombies.
Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I have no idea what that is. Knights, spelt with a K. Knights and Bikes for the Switch.
Sweet.
That actually sounds pretty fun. What is that?
Let me click on it.
No, here. You know what? I'll do the research. You keep naming this stuff.
Okay. Oh, it looks like a kind of like a Psychonauts art style almost. It's kind of neat. Kunai, which is just for the Switch and PC. I'm assuming that's some sort of ninja game. The Turing Test? Turing.
Yeah.
Turing Test.
That's that test where like you are talking to a robot and you can't tell it's a robot.
Oh, February 7th for the Switch.
Sweet.
AO Tennis 2 for all three major systems. Yakuza 5 for the PS4. Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition for PlayStation and PC. Darksiders Genesis for everything. Well, not PC, all the major systems. Here's the one I'm interested in getting. Dreams is coming to PS4.
Oh, I thought that was already available. I always get Dreams and Concrete Genie mixed.
Concrete Genie has been available.
Well, Dreams has been like in, like an open beta for a while, right?
Well, it's been on other
early
systems,
access, yeah.
I think.
Don't
Was it beta? I thought it was just available in other systems.
Isn't it like
I think it was just like an early
It's
access
like a game
for
maker
while.
almost.
Yeah, because
people remake other games in Dreams. Like people remade.
I know. I saw Dead Space.
I saw people remade Hyrule Castle, the courtyard to Hyrule Castle from Ocarina of Time in Dreams. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's you know me, that's right down my alley, being able to like build things and being creative.
That's crazy.
Hunt: Shadow for the PS4. Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition for the Switch. Kingdom Farts 3 Remind for Xbox One only.
I heard that was like a cash grab.
Only Xbox One? Am I reading that incorrectly? It only says Xbox One. It wouldn't be exclusive to that one.
Could be.
No.
No, it says platform. They just forgot to write it in. Damn it, Game Informer. Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection for everything. I know Dan was talking about that. Is that something that's on your DAR?
I have to look at what those games include, and then I'll be. I mean, for $30 on the Switch, that could be just another like plethora of Mega Man games to throw on.
Samurai Showdown for the Switch. 2 Point Hospital for all of the major systems. Metro Redux for the Switch. One Punch Man. That's a very popular anime for you two who don't watch anime. Coming to all systems, everything. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 14 coming to PlayStation and PC. Overpass coming to everything.
Not to be confused with Overwatch, right?
Yeah, what's Overpass? Oh, it's a kind of a dirt rally game, racing, whatever.
Yeah.
No offense to all the people who worked on that game. I didn't mean to seem so like condescending. Like, oh, it's just. So did you look up Knights and Bikes?
Yeah, the art style scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, it reminds me of Psychonauts. Looks kind of cool.
It looks nutty.
I wonder if it was made by Fandango. Not Fandango, Double Fine. Yo, it was Double Fine. Boom. Kind of called it. If I didn't screw up the first time.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Double Fine made Broken Age. That was one of my favorite download games from the PS4 generation. It probably was my favorite downloaded PS Plus game.
Sweet.
Ooh, no, The Witness.
The Witness is fun.
Oh, The Witness was so good. But yeah, I'm usually a fan of Double Fine games. I think Double Fine made Psychonauts. I'm pretty sure. Oh well, I guess I think I get them and that other company I named confused though. Yeah, so Psychonauts was Psychonauts was Double Fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Double Fine was bought by Microsoft. This game is coming out for PS4, PC, and Switch, but I'm like 99% sure that was one of the announcements at E3 was that they bought Xbox, but Double Fine. So then March, the little picture here for March. I know we're not talking about March games, but it's Animal Crossing
And Doom.
and Doom. Doom 64 and Doom Eternal.
Which is just announced that they're not going to have any sort of transactions or anything, which is kind of nice.
That's good.
Yeah, there was
yeah, that's pretty much it for March, though. I'm looking at the other games of March.
Giant Bomb had a video of some gameplay because they went over and played it. Brad Shoemaker went down and played it, and he brought back some gameplay footage. And part of the footage showed like what looks like a battle pass, like the kind of like leveling up. And so everyone kind of freaked out on the internet all at once about, oh my god, there's gonna be a battle pass for this game. And then they kind of clarified and said like this is just for cosmetics. It's you're not gonna pay for it. It's like in the game, you can ignore it. It's a $60 game. It's not a phone game. It's not a free-to-play game. So you're not going to have to pay anything.
Well, I can
extra,
understand why
nice.
people are worried because the publisher is Bethesda.
Yes,
so.
exactly. But yeah, it's nice to hear. I mean, that'd be kind of nice to see a battle pass that isn't like monetized in any way. Like you can't skip battle pass levels or anything like that. Because that was my big complaint when we were playing Apex, was just how long it took to get from level to level. Since there's no incentive for them to just kind of make us have to grind and slow us down, if they'll be getting all that stuff at like a nice clip, just be kind of more refreshing.
Oh, so I was looking for. I kind of looked into this game and I noticed it kind of popped on my radar for a little bit, but I didn't know it already released. So it's called Journey to the Salvage Planet. It's like a first person kind of and more straightforward, like No Man's Sky, with a like more set towards a story, and I guess it's absolutely hysterical. Which
it sounds familiar. Either I've heard of it or you've brought it up before.
it started out as a $30 game, and I don't know. I heard it was hysterical, and it's literally a looter shooter, like almost like Borderlands on like alien planets, and I do want to give that a go, considering it says it's absolutely hysterical. Like that's all people say. They're like, it's not a great game, but it's funny as hell. It's like, oh, okay, there's not many games that are absolutely like hysterical. Borderlands 3 kind of it was fun. It had its moments, but it just kind of lost its luster. So if I could find a game that literally is like laugh out loud hilarious, that would be fantastic. So
this is gonna sound mean,
oh boy,
and I don't mean to sound this mean. Borderlands 3 almost seemed like it was a parody of itself in a way.
I can see that.
Like Borderlands 1 and 2, and I didn't really play 1, but like I knew of it. 2 I played with you, Dan. It was fresh when they did it, but I didn't hear anything good about the pre-sequel. And then Borderlands 3, while I will say for a game was extremely solid, I didn't have any problems with it. It was a really good game. I just didn't. Turns out I don't like looter shooters, but it definitely did at times feel like they almost were a little too self-aware of the humor they were using.
They didn't really evolve in their humor at all between the second
Yeah.
game, which like it's been kind of a long time between when that game came out and this game. So a lot of kind of humor has evolved since then. So
That's a
this is
good
kind
way
of
to put
more.
it.
It's just kind of more of the same. But yeah, I didn't really hate it because I haven't played Borderlands 2 or 1 recently. That much at least.
I mean, you might go back to those games and realize, oh, it was the same humor. It just didn't evolve. Well,
Yeah.
it's like, but that's basically what you just said. It didn't evolve. Which that's not like a slight on the game. Like it was a very nice, polished, finished product. That is something I noticed though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was easy to go back to when I played that DLC. So I'm kind of excited to, every time because that dumb season pass I already bought, I'm going to go back and jump into it and play it again. It'd be nice to be able to just kind of jump into it and kind of relax for a bit. And luckily, it's not too hard to get back into.
So when you guys mentioned when you mentioned Doom and the microtransactions, my first thought was I'm gonna Google Fallout 76 and see if it's gotten any better.
Oh dear, don't do that.
It's
Turn back.
I guess a bunch of people lost their clothing and Bethesda had to restore it or something like that. I don't
literally
know.
stealing the clothes off of people's
yeah,
backs.
there you go.
I guess someone actually like went in and stole the stuff though.
Yeah, there's like people that are able to hack and mess things up in that game. Seems
See?
like to be a constant problem.
This is why you don't make it online connected at all times, you dickbags.
Bethesda restores stolen Fallout 76 items by cloning players' characters.
Cool.
See, this is what's dumb.
Now you got
Like, they're all
scary
like, oh, we're trying to do this to...
clones running around.
Because they keep saying, like, oh, we're doing this to, prevent people from cheating and stuff. It's like, no, you're gonna get people that can hack into an account, and then that's it. But I don't know. But hey, this if this is a multiplayer game, co-op,
I'm sorry.
the Journey to the Salvage Planet.
That's the funny one. That's not good.
No, it's no. They said it's made by a smaller company, an indie developer.
I was just saying what you said.
So I didn't say it. It said the mechanics were a little, but the gameplay is fun.
What it was written down.
That is literally
full review.
Yes,
The mechanics are nah.
flimsy mechanics.
I was just
Okay.
going off of what you said.
That's what I said.
You're like, well, the game's not good, but it's funny. That's what you said earlier.
Yep. No,
I was just repeating.
that's some pretty good reviews.
Okay.
So
I was just repeating you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that could potentially maybe be a game that we play co-op next, and it's cheap too.
Speaking of things that are indeed bad, that's not this. The other thing I wanted to look up was Google Stadia,
Stop, Andy.
I guess,
no! Bring on the misery.
I guess
Google Stadia.
feel the yes. Do
Can you add that in, like, right
the
at this part?
Palpatine?
Yeah, just at this part.
Do it.
Dan?
Whenever we mention Stadia,
Dan, I have been waiting 31 years for someone to ask me to inject as much Palpatine as possible.
please
into
enter
a
more
podcast.
Palpatine in,
Oh my God.
in whenever we talk about Stadia. Or you could do the who's that quarterback? Whenever they mention that, like,
Oh yeah, so that's kind of a no
just
one's
the
gonna
noise.
get that. But so there's this other podcast that I listen to about football. So it's not eating off of our listeners. It's called the Around the NFL podcast. If you like football, it's the best football podcast. If you're not in it for the fantasy and you're just in it for the pure football, they're very funny. And anytime they talked about Brock Osweiler, the former Broncos, Houston, Cleveland, and then Broncos quarterback again. Every time they would talk about him, there was this like whiny guy they would play like a soundbite and would go like, "No, I can't believe it." It was just really funny. But no, I will gladly fill this podcast with Palpatine
Okay,
anytime we talk about Stadia. But
preferably yes.
yeah, I guess Stadia's been radio silent. I guess that's what people are saying on because I guess they didn't have as many games as they were going to originally, and then they really haven't added many more.
Can you imagine being one of the Founder Edition people and you would enjoy the hell out of this thing, and then
Maybe I should be searching for this on Bing because Google's probably not giving me the full rundown on Google Stadia.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like, oh, your search.
Let me
People
search
are like,
for
oh,
this.
it's got beautiful, amazing. Yeah, that is kind of funny. I didn't even think of that.
It knows what I'm trying to do.
Even Google's like, you know what? If you want the real reviews, go to Bing. Oh, that's
They're adding Metro Exodus.
Do it.
Metro Exodus.
Even Google, this is from Forbes, even Google Stadia diehards are getting fed up with missing features and silence. So yeah, it looks like they are being very radio silent. I mean,
I don't know. Shocking. Really? No offense, but anybody that bought it, I mean, you had to see the writing on the wall from the beginning.
And I mentioned this, I forget the podcast name now, but I did mention it on a previous episode a couple weeks ago. This guy on a different video game podcast did give like a very honest review of it, and he had some good things and some bad things, although he did make a point to say like, yeah, like I tried to play it on like the high performance and everything like that, and like you couldn't, like the bandwidth runs out way too quickly. It doesn't matter what kind of lines they're running down or anything like that. The ISPs just can't keep up with it.
No, and I mean, this is this generation game. Can you imagine next gen, where it's going to be even more detailed?
Yeah,
it's not going to work. I don't understand why people thought this was a good idea. It just, like I said, and then the internet thing, and I still can't figure out who their market was. Are you going for hardcore gamers? Because if you are, that's not a good market, because those people are going to want to play it like without any kind of latency issues, and frame rate issues, and that's what it's going to have.
A Google community manager responded to a thread and reassured users about moderation concerns, saying, quote, "Don't worry, I'll make sure this post doesn't get removed," end quote. The fact that a company, this is Forbes talking now, the fact that a company community manager has that kind of power on what should be a fan-run forum kind of says a lot on its own. So, this must be a actual Google Stadia. The Google Stadia subreddit. That's what this is about.
What were they worried about being removed?
I think maybe Google's removing things from it or something like that.
Removing stuff from the subreddits?
I don't know. I read it out of order.
Okay.
Either way, Google Stadia.
None of us bought it for good reason.
I wouldn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole.
I never had any inkling to buy it.
It could be neat later, but just the way that PlayStation... not only that, if gaming was kind of crumbling a little bit, PlayStation didn't nearly sell as well, and then Xbox did okay, not great, and Nintendo still was, we're still in the Wii U phase. Then maybe I could see, all right, maybe they can come up and be a competitor, but I don't know if they can hack it, really, because, Sony just has this huge, friggin' massive part of this video game thing, and then Nintendo...
It's looking like next generation, too.
And then, and Nintendo has, they have the hardcore gamers, and they also have just the normal people. They just want to... everywhere I went...
They're successful with what they do.
Yeah, I see Switches everywhere. Like, the airport, when I went to Mexico, I saw, every person had one, whether it was, to 10 years old up until 30, 40 years old. I
thought you meant a 10-year-old Switch. I'm like, what model did they have? Are you talking about the Game Boy?
Yeah, they have the Game Boy.
Speaking of failed systems or Doom systems, Matt, where's that Atari box you wanted to come out so badly?
Oh, I don't remember ever wanting the Atari box to come out.
Yeah, you were really excited for it.
None of this makes sense.
No, so Atari made a big announcement at one of the game things about how they were coming up with a new system, and you got really excited because you're like, "Oh, this is great! Someone's going to throw a wrench into the works. I like this."
Wait, a new system,
lying to me,
like a new system.
Oh, wait, no! Hang on. One dumpster fire at a time.
Okay, hang on.
This happened.
Hey!
I was never excited about the Atari box.
Yeah, you were. You were excited because they're re-entering the game force, they're throwing a monkey wrench into the system. You weren't excited to buy it. You were just excited because they were gonna come in and try to muck up the words.
He's trying to put words in your mouth.
No, this happened. This fucking happened.
I don't think it happened because I can't imagine ever thinking that this was going to be an actual system that sold.
So they
copies.
did this really weird ad at one of the E3s where it was just the logo, and they kind of took a look at the think about what an Atari 2600 looked like. It looked like a sleek version of that. By the way, I do know where it went too, because I've been keeping track of it ever since. It went nowhere. Yes. It keeps
it's
basically it's kind of like a Steam box basically, and they were showing games running on it, but then the guy who owned the game was like, I never authorized them to run my game on that system or something. But I think the YouTube channel kind of went dead, so I think they probably just died out. But Matt was excited when it was announced because he was excited that maybe Atari was getting back into systems and they were gonna kind of invade the market. It was the E3 right after I moved in, so it had to have been almost 3 years ago now.
Okay.
It was a while ago. I'm just saying it did happen. That's not a lie.
I'm saying it didn't.
That's a lie.
Okay.
That's a lie that you're saying right now.
I could have been being sarcastic.
No, again, you didn't say that you were going to buy it. You were just it was you were happy. You're yeah, this is cool. This is exciting that someone else is randomly getting back into the market. This happened, Matt. This 100% happened.
You're just telling anyone listening that I don't know anything about video games and that I'm the biggest idiot you've ever met. That's the same thing that sentence says.
Why?
Because you would have to be the biggest idiot I've ever met to think that the Atari box was gonna
wasn't. I don't know if it was called the Atari box. I don't remember what it was called, but
all right.
You can enter the Palpatine thing here too. Yes, your anger and your forgetfulness of whoever is forgetting.
Whatever, dude.
I don't know who to believe. Matt seems pretty
I
confident.
swear to God,
but
this happened.
you keep saying Monkey
imagine it
Wrench,
was a-
which is making me think that Monkey Wrench was said.
I
You
can
never-
very much
no.
see myself being sarcastic
No,
about that.
you were not sarcastic, but you also never mentioned it again after that one day.
Were you dreaming? Was this a dream?
This was the trailer that happened at E3 that year.
Yeah.
Are you really gonna play that right now? Where
Yeah.
nobody can hear this, but he's. Why are you putting that up to the thing?
This was the trailer for it. This is all we saw, and you were like,
So literally, it was just
like a brief
the
look at the
glowing
system.
picture of the Atari symbol.
could. There was.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there was.
Did they actually show the system?
Yeah, a little bit.
It just looks like the top of the. Oh, it's got a little bit of wood on it.
Yeah, it's got like the fake wood on and everything. Anyways, it went nowhere. But
So what was it? Like a
it was
actual
going to be
PC?
They never
or
really,
old games?
They never really said.
Oh,
The YouTube channel barely has any videos on it. It looks like they kept saying they were using PC technology. And everybody eventually assumed it was more or less going to be a kind of like what the Steam box was or whatever that thing. What was it called? Was it Steam box? Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
I don't remember what that thing was called. It was just
I love
the
my
Atari.
Steam box. Except for the fact, well, it's not even Steam Box's fault. It's Windows 10 because they just made everything unplayable if it's older on the PC.
Have you used it really?
Yeah, and I bought a few games on Steam.
Yeah, but have you played them?
Yeah, and I'm gonna play Warcraft 3 Reforged.
What have you played on it so far?
What have I played on it? Well, I tried to install everything first. I played a little bit of Call of Duty World at War. Because I finally got a game running on it. So,
No. On using the Steam box?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what you bought, right?
Yeah. And then I bought.
Wait a minute. I thought you bought a gaming PC.
I do. Yes.
The Steam box was something different, wasn't it? Wasn't the Steam box something that could play Steam games but it hooked up to your TV?
Yeah. Essentially, it was a PC that was compatible for. The one I have is actually like, it's not like up to today's standards, obviously, but
I thought you just bought a gaming PC.
oh no. But what is in this box is actually pretty powerful for what it is. So I was like, oh, okay, why not? And it was pretty cheap compared to what it's worth. So the guy was moving and he needed to get rid of it. So
Yeah, I do remember that.
yeah. So
Um,
I don't need it to run.
is it this thing?
No. It has an alien. It's made by Alienware.
So it's an Alienware PC.
Yeah, but it's
Steam. I'm sorry, Steam Machine. I think is what it was.
Well,
supposed
Steam.
to be called.
Yeah, Steam Machine or whatever. I can give you the.
Sounds like you have an Alienware computer.
Yes, it looks exactly like this little thing. It's like a cube with a little corner at the end. That's exactly it. So.
Oh, so yeah, that isn't.
I'll give you the. I can give you the
an
specs later.
Alienware mini. It's a gaming PC. It's not really a Steam machine. It's a gaming PC.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I typed in Steam Machine and that popped up, and I was like, okay, that's what it is to me. I claim to know
This
nothing
is a
about PC.
Alienware gaming PC. Like most PCs can run Steam. That's what it is.
Yeah, okay.
It's not necessarily. So, did you buy World at War on Steam, or did you just have the disc? Or...
No, I had the disc, so I wanted to see if I.
Oh yeah, that's just
lot of
you
the-
trying to run a PC game in compatibility mode and it's not working. That's nothing to do with Steam.
No. That's why I said Windows 10. Windows 10 seems like it killed a lot of it, but I bought the original Witcher for PC because I wanted to try that. But unfortunately, it didn't load correctly, so I'm having a lot of issues with the older games. I was excited to play Fear on the PC because I heard that was like so much better on PC than on the Xbox 360, and they never made it back.
Which one?
Fear.
Oh yeah. I
first
thought
one.
you played it on the PC when we were in college. I thought you were playing
No.
on your laptop with the mouse.
Nope.
That you.
Because I would have friggin' threw the mouse from being frightened. And no, I didn't play a lot of horror games on the PC.
Oh okay.
So-
I do remember you playing the game though.
Fear, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Xbox 360 when I had that.
Matt, you honest to God don't remember the Atari thing? I'm like
No,
perplexed.
I'm confident you're misremembering.
No,
my
absolutely
intent.
not.
I think you didn't catch my sarcasm.
He's pulled a few of these, like
No, I know
100%.
your sarcasm.
You know.
No, because we talked about it in length. We went to Texas Roadhouse afterwards. We talked about it in length.
Wait, did he
That
get
sounds like me.
did he get chicken fingers?
I've gotten no. I don't think.
No, not you. Him.
Usually.
I get chicken fingers and ribs, so
Together,
don't
it's
act like I
plate.
just get chicken fingers at Texas
No,
Roadhouse.
That sounds like a very advanced palate to me, man.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
And I get rice,
That's true.
which is so not fries.
That is very fancy.
I get fries too, but
That is like a 5-star dinner. This man has an excellent palate.
No, honest to God, Matt, you were sincere. You didn't say like, oh my God, it's going to do amazing, or oh my God, I'm going to get it. You were just excited. Like, it was so random that Atari was getting back into the console making business. That's what excited you. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
And that was like a genuine thing. It wasn't you being sarcastic. We had a conversation about it. It didn't go anywhere because after that E3 announcement, there was like nothing. It went radio dead. I looked at their YouTube channel pretty recently. They've had like 5 videos. It went nowhere. I'm just saying that did happen.
All right.
Okay?
I disagree.
He is very adamant. And Matt could not look like he cares any less.
Well, it doesn't matter if he cares or not. It happened. Like, I don't care whether or not he believes me. I'm just saying it happened.
Call in now. Text 1 if you believe Andy, and text 2 if you believe Matt. Anyway, you can add some waiting music or something there, Andy. No. Insert Palpatine.
No, I don't want to overdo Palp. I'll let him in a little.
Okay.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, we're good.
We can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be video games.
This is strictly a video game podcast.
Didn't we start off by talking about like coffee, ice cream, and Pepsi?
You eat food while you're playing video games. That's acceptable.
I try not to.
I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
All right. Well, boys, men, ladies, where can people find you?
You forgot to say people with excellent palates too.
Why would I talk to myself?
Anyway, go ahead.
You can find me at Matt Talks Games on Twitter.com.
And Matt has been very active on the Twitter. I like this.
I try.
Everything I post, he likes. And you can find me, Dan, at Game Review Guy on Twitter. Sir Andimus.
And you can find me at Highly and Andy on Twitter, that I never really use. And you can find the podcast at manabarpodcast on Twitter, which is very active. And you can find it on Instagram at the Manabar Podcast. And you can also check out our YouTube channel, where you can see exclusive content that we don't put on the podcast. And feel free to email us anytime at manabarpodcast@gmail.com. And with this is the Trophy Hunter, the Collector, and the Value Gamer logging off. That was actually perfectly timed.
That was great. Like, click, click.